The Romance of the Western Wing. In the Tang dynasty, when Chang'an gleamed with splendor, a young scholar named Zhang Sheng set out for the capital. Poor in wealth but rich in ambition, he carried nothing but books and dreams of passing the imperial exams. One spring evening, his journey brought him to Puju Temple, a quiet refuge among pines and willows. That same day, destiny unfolded. Arriving with attendants was Cui Yingying, daughter of a late minister, famed for her beauty and refinement. In a pale robe embroidered with peonies, she seemed like drifting clouds touched by sorrow. Zhang's heart faltered. Words failed him, though poetry burned within. That night, unable to contain himself, he brushed verses onto the temple wall. By chance, I glimpse a beauty rare, like moonlight veiled in misted air. If heaven grants one meeting more, what joy could mortal hearts implore? By morning, Yingying's maid Hongniang had seen the lines. Sharp-witted and loyal, she teased her mistress about the scholar whose eyes followed her every step. Yingying feigned indifference, though a blush betrayed her heart. Soon, calamity struck. Rebels, hearing of Lady Cui's wealth, surrounded the temple and demanded Yingying as ransom. Fear spread, until Zhang stepped forward. "Madam, though I am but a poor scholar, let me send word to the garrison. Within days, aid will come." His letter brought soldiers who scattered the rebels. Grateful, Lady Cui declared before all, "Whoever rescues us shall have Yingying's hand." Zhang's heart soared, only to be crushed when, once danger passed, Lady Cui broke her word. "A penniless scholar cannot wed my daughter," she said coldly. For Yingying, bound by duty, silence was agony. For Zhang, rejection was despair. Yet it was Hongniang, clever and daring, who refused to let love die. Through hidden letters and whispered messages, she carried Zhang's verses to Yingying, and Yingying's replies back to him. Thus began their secret courtship, fragile as fireflies in the night, yet bright enough to defy the darkness ahead. Hongniang, the clever maid, could not bear to see her mistress languish in lovesickness, nor the scholar Zhang Sheng pacing like a restless soul under the moon. Though but a servant, she had the wit and boldness of a general. With a sly smile, she whispered, "Master Zhang, if your heart is truly steadfast, why should you fear mere walls and words? Love unspoken is love betrayed. If you dare, I shall arrange a meeting." Zhang Sheng's face flushed crimson, his fan trembling in his hand. "But if Madame learns of this, she will cast us both into ruin." Hongniang laughed softly, tilting her head. "Madame's ears are sharp, yet the night has ways of hiding secrets. Besides, the young lady's heart already leans toward you. Would you have her wait in sorrow while you cower in fear?" Thus, persuaded, Zhang Sheng at last nodded. That night, as the garden bathed in moonlight and the scent of apricot blossoms lingered in the air, Hongniang led him to the west wing. There, behind a half-drawn curtain, stood Cui Yingying, her beauty more dazzling than the stars above. The lovers' eyes met, and in that silence, words were unnecessary. Zhang Sheng's trembling voice broke first. "Miss Cui, though my station is low and fortune meager, my heart is wholly yours." Yingying's cheeks glowed, her voice like a reed flute beneath the night wind. "If heaven decrees we must suffer obstacles, still, I would rather suffer with you than live without." Their hands touched, tentatively at first, then with the certainty of vows unspoken. The night became their witness, and Hongniang, standing guard outside, could not help but smile at their whispered exchanges. But happiness in this world is ever fleeting. For several nights, the secret meetings continued until suspicion stirred within Madame Cui. She noticed her daughter's pallor by day, her distracted sighs, and the sly glances between maid and scholar. At last, one evening, Madame Cui burst into the West Wing unannounced. The lovers were apart in time, yet the traces of stolen meetings could not be wholly concealed. Madame's face darkened as she scolded her daughter and threatened Zhang Sheng with dismissal. Do you think the daughter of the Prime Minister's house can be toyed with by a penniless scholar? Such insolence shall not be borne. Yingying wept bitterly, while Zhang Sheng fell to his knees, his heart pounding. It was Hongniang who dared to intercede. Bowing low, she spoke with measured boldness. Madam, the scholar is not without merit. Did he not risk his life to save our household from bandits? If such loyalty and courage are dismissed, what greater proof of worth can there be? Madame Cui's anger softened little, yet she was trapped by reason and reputation. At last she relented, but with a cruel condition. Let him prove his worth by winning honor in the imperial examinations. If he succeeds, I shall consider his plea. If not, he shall never again darken our doors. Thus, the lovers were parted once more, their secret union bound by a fragile promise. Zhang Sheng must leave Yingying's side, bearing the heavy weight of ambition and love, while Yingying remained behind, her days filled with longing sighs and sleepless nights. The decision was made, and no pleading could change it. Zhang Sheng, though his heart felt torn asunder, knew that only success in the examinations could win him the hand of Cui Yingying. Madame Cui's words rang like iron. Without merit, love was nothing but folly. On the eve of his departure, the West Wing was shrouded in silence. Hongniang, as always, acted as the bridge between them. Under her cover, Zhang Sheng stole one final meeting with Yingying. By the lantern's faint glow, he saw her eyes brim with tears, each drop reflecting his own sorrow. "Must you truly go?" she whispered, her voice quivering. "If I stay," Zhang Sheng replied, "we remain as shadows and sighs. If I go, though the road is bitter, there may yet be a dawn where we can stand together in the light." They exchanged a silken kerchief as token of remembrance, his hand lingering on hers, reluctant to part. In that brief moment, both knew the night might be the last they would share for many years. When dawn broke, Zhang Sheng set forth with little more than his books, inkstone, and the fire of resolve in his chest. He joined the endless stream of scholars bound for the capital, each dreaming of glory. Yet his burden was heavier. He carried a heart's promise. Back in the West Wing, Yingying lived in quiet torment. By day, she played the zither, with fingers that trembled, each note like a sigh drifting across the courtyard. By night, she gazed at the stars, whispering Zhang Sheng's name as though the wind might carry it to him. Hongniang, ever watchful, tried to lift her mistress's spirits with laughter, but even she could not hide her concern. "Miss, trust him. Though the road is long, he will not fail you." Meanwhile, in the capital, Zhang Sheng bent himself to study with relentless fervor. He burned lamp oil until dawn, his eyes bloodshot, his hands stained with ink. Whenever fatigue threatened, he would draw forth Yingying's kerchief, pressing it to his lips as though it held the very breath of life. At last came the day of the examinations. Thousands of scholars gathered in the great hall, their brushes poised over blank scrolls. Zhang Sheng's hand did not falter. His essays flowed with clarity and force, born not only of learning, but of love's unyielding power. Weeks later, the results were announced. Zhang Sheng had ranked among the very first, his name resounding through the capital. Scholars envied him, elders praised him, and officials marked him for rising fame. Yet in the midst of all the celebration, his first thought was not of titles or honors, but of returning to the West Wing. In her chamber far away, Yingying received the letter of his triumph. Tears streaked her cheeks, not of sorrow, but of joy. For now, their path toward reunion had begun to clear. The spring sun bathed the town in golden light when Zhang Sheng returned, his scholar's robes no longer threadbare, but lined with dignity. Yet, for all the honor he carried, his steps hastened only toward the familiar gates of the West Wing. Inside, Yingying waited. Though she had tried to remain serene, her heart leapt at every footstep beyond the courtyard wall. When at last, Hongniang burst in with a grin. "He is here!" Yingying could no longer hold back. She rushed to the doorway, and there stood Zhang Sheng, thinner than before, but with eyes alight like twin stars. Neither spoke at first. Their gazes met, and the long months of separation melted into silence richer than words. Then Zhang Sheng bowed deeply. "Miss Cui, I return not only with the rank of a jinshi, but with a heart unchanged. If you still remember our vow, let me fulfill it now." Yingying's tears glistened like pearls. "How could I forget? Each day I counted the stars, as if they might carry your ink-stained dreams back to me. Now you are here, and I need no stars." Madame Cui, seeing the scholar now robed in honor, could no longer withhold her consent. Though reluctant at first, even she was moved by his perseverance. "You have proven your worth," she declared. "May this union bring honor to both families." Thus, the marriage was arranged. On the wedding day, the West Wing was transformed. Lanterns hung from every eave, silk banners fluttered in the breeze, and the fragrance of wine and blossoms filled the air. Guests marveled at the tale, the poor scholar who won both glory and love, the beauty who remained steadfast despite obstacles, and the maid whose wit had outmatched even fate. At the height of the ceremony, Zhang Sheng took Yingying's hand before all. "From this day forward, may our love no longer hide behind curtains and shadows, but shine as bright as the sun above." The hall erupted in joy. Musicians played, children laughed, and Hongniang, standing proudly at their side, winked mischievously. "See, did I not say that even walls cannot hold back true hearts?" And so the tale of the Western Wing concluded not in tragedy, but in fulfillment. It was a story whispered through generations, of a scholar who dared, a maiden who endured, and a maid whose boldness stitched their destinies together. In the quiet after the revelry, as the moon once more hung over the West Wing, Zhang Sheng and Yingying sat side by side, their hands entwined. No longer whispers, no longer sighs, only the certainty that their love, tested by absence and trial, had triumphed at last.